So every once in a while, a movie comes out that makes a pretty big impression on the general public. They're not always winners, and more often than not, they fall into obscurity, but sometimes you get genre films that make their mark in a pretty big way. The 1990s were full of movies like that, with Jurassic Park definitely being the top dog of them all, but obviously owing a lot of its own appeal to what was already present in things like the Alien series. This movie owes a lot of its success to that little time period where CGI and practical effects were beginning to blur the lines between what was real and fake, and it is about as 90s as you could get. So what happens when you take a movie like Sigourney Weaver's Alien and mix it with the genetic DNA splicing concepts from stuff like Jurassic Park? Well, throw in a supermodel and you just might get this. Species is a 1995 science fiction horror movie directed by Roger Donaldson. It stars Michael Madsen, Ben Kingsley, and Natasha Henstridge, who happened to become something of a science fiction icon because of this thing. You see, Species tells the story of a government experiment gone wrong. After setting up the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence program, government scientists send out transmissions of the human culture into deep space. And eventually, they get back some transmissions that tell the humans to splice together their own DNA with the genetic code of alien life.
That's a great idea!
These new transmissions from deep space result in the creation of someone named Syl, a young girl who grows rapidly in short time. After the decision is made to terminate the test subject, Syl escapes, and we follow the girl on the run for the first few minutes of the movie. Only she's not exactly a human girl, becoming full grown in short time, and eventually we learn that the government is going to need to put together an elite team for a search and destroy mission to stop this genetic experiment from following her programmed instincts and leaving a path of destruction along the way. So Species was kind of a notable movie when it came out. My earliest memories of this thing happened to be when it was on television in the late 90s when I was really little. I'll never forget the whole iconography around it and how the imagery of a seemingly beautiful woman would soon collapse into a nightmarish xenomorph style monster that lured people in close before killing them in pretty terrifying ways. And no joke, after rewatching it for the first time in pretty much ages, I gotta say that Species might just be one of the most wild, and I'm gonna say it, underrated monster movies that came out in the 90s. And that's not me saying that it's a certified classic in need of reevaluation or anything, don't get it twisted, but it definitely does offer something different compared to what came before, and I'd go as far to say that its reputation as being, you know, a simple, campy, exploitation, steamy trash heap of a monster movie, it's not really how I'd describe it at all.
Please, I want a baby.
What? Excuse me?
Natasha Henstridge's performance as the monster Syl is actually pretty crazy because she's basically playing someone who is haunted by intensely eerie dreams that kind of compel her into following through with some sort of alien protocol, which is never really explained fully in this movie, but the best guess is made that the aliens actually sent out the extraterrestrial genetic code in order for the humans to exterminate themselves once Syl started to grow up and look for a mate. Her performance here is actually really good in my opinion because it's kind of sad to see someone who is honestly innocent in all this. You know, she didn't ask to be created, but she's born to be a monster that murders people in the most horrific and invasive of ways. You don't exactly root for her to win because, you know, she's the monster, but I really enjoyed rewatching this. There's something about it that's scary while at the same time, it's creepy, man. Species is very interesting.
Do you ever have nightmares? Please untie my hands.
Now, our elite team of characters is rounded out by those I mentioned before alongside Alfred Molina, Forrest Whitaker, and Marge Heldenberger, who all do a really good job at presenting likable and fun people to be around. And that's what you want in movies like this, right? People that you relate with. Unfortunately, we don't really get too much characterization for any of them, and I have to say that Species' biggest problems really are the fact that it's more of a monster movie first and suspenseful character drama second. Like, you don't really get a sense of development or fleshing out of many of them, and it kind of reminds me of the complaints people made for the Lost World Jurassic Park in some regards because of that. Only that movie at the very least gave their big game hunter Pete Postlethwaite's Roland Timbo a very nice character arc. This, on the other hand, doesn't really have anything like that. Nobody really changes or is impacted in any serious way in the film, which is a shame because everyone here is very likable. Like I said, Forrest Whitaker in particular, he gives a great performance as a hired empath who can sense people's feelings and emotions, which typically leads to the audience knowing where Syl is and what she's feeling during the movie. But yeah, we're all here for the monster stuff anyways, so I guess it's not really that big of a deal. This is the kind of movie that was actually pretty common to see back when I was growing up, where they'd get a really beautiful actress to portray a crazy psycho villain, like in other movies, GoldenEye being a pretty big one. It was parodied in Men in Black 2, and had to have been some sort of inspiration for Terminator 3. I mean, come on, you can't tell me it wasn't. And man, I tell you, this was the kind of stuff that used to scare little Clayton back in the day. One minute they love you, and the next you're just dead, bro. But again, that whole angle was kind of the point of Species. By the way, the creature in question was designed by H.R. Geiger, who, if you couldn't tell already, channeled a lot of his work into the alien design of Syl. And this movie is in a lot of ways the 1990s version of Ridley Scott's Alien, only updated with a few more action movie ideas here and there. It originally started out as a script way back in 1987, believe it or not, where it was going under the title The Message. In 1993, the script was reworked into something a little different, and the movie really took shape thanks to the works from Geiger and Natasha specifically. The best way I can describe this film is really just an extremely attractive woman hunts down her prey and reveals the fact that she's an alien monster bioweapon, only a little too late to unsuspecting people, with the government team always hot on the trail following the chaos in constant pursuit. It all boils down into what I consider to be an extremely underwhelming climax though, where the movie sort of runs out of steam and things become almost a schlocky retread of Terminator 2 or Alien 3, which even H.R. Geiger said himself while working on the movie. Personally, as someone who not only thinks this is a perfectly fine and actually inventive science fiction monster movie from 1995, I gotta say that the ending is without a shadow of a doubt the definition of rushed in every way imaginable. And again, that's coming from someone who really enjoyed everything up until that moment. I didn't say it was perfect, but it was a fun movie. You've got a fun X-Files style story complete with cutting edge CGI and cool H.R. Geiger effects for 3/4 of the runtime. Natasha is running around creating iconic 90s science fiction monster scenes, and then the movie just kind of stops and it's over before you know it. So to call that a bummer is, in my opinion, an understatement.
Hey, where are you from?
I'm foreign.
The movie came out to some pretty mediocre reviews, but make no mistake, Species was a cult hit right off the bat, with many science fiction fans and ordinary moviegoers creating a kind of scary status around it. A lot of that is because of Natasha's performance, who not only played a very alien supermodel kind of woman wandering around LA during the film, but she gets legitimately scary with the special effects transformations in the story, and it really makes you jump sometimes. I mean, sure, it's the kind of jumps that leave you smiling while they're happening, at least for me anyways. But Species is a 90s cult classic monster movie that really has cut a name for itself in a pretty cool way. As soon as you say the title, people immediately know what you're talking about. They see Natasha, they see the Syl special effects, and they're like, yeah, okay, I got it, man. And while there are people out there that probably immediately roll their eyes or hate it, the technical craft and originality of Species is pretty cool. It's like if 1985's Life Force were done after Jurassic Park, and that's exactly the kind of movie this is. But hey, those are all just my own thoughts on the subject matter. What about all of you guys? What do you think about Species? Did it scare you back in the day? And what do you think of it now? I will admit, I've only seen this and the second one once, and that was years ago, so I have very little memory of what happens in the next one. But as far as this first one goes, I think it's a solid 3.5 out of 5 kind of cult classic movie. Natasha's great, the H.R. Geiger work is incredible, I'm a fan of this film. But hey, whatever your own thoughts and opinions happen to be, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below.